Hi Tom, good morning. How are you today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Okay, great. So it must be really early in New Jersey right now.
It's on the early side, but my days usually start around this time, so all good.
Okay, great. So very excited to have you with us on Leadership Buzz on Earth Season 6. And we have this series going on, and the purpose of the series is to get the leaders who are driving the sustainability efforts across the world to share their views and their agenda with rest of the people to inspire them and also to answer some of the questions that have been raised here and there.
Sure.
So I'll start the question with your journey itself. So when did you start the journey of TerraCycle? Or maybe your own sustainability journey, when did that start?
Um, well, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, for me, my story started in 1982 when I was born in Budapest. It was still communist at the time, and we left Hungary in '86 when I was 4, when Chernobyl happened. That it was a big environmental disaster and also destabilized the borders. So we were able to leave as political refugees. Ended up in Germany, then Holland, then Belgium, finally in Canada. And then I went down to university in the United States, and that's sort of how I got to here. And I mentioned that story because I went from communism to capitalism, falling in love with entrepreneurship along the way. Um,
Right.
but I really wanted to, and this sort of came to me in college, try to find business that had purpose, not just profit. So, but purpose first, profit second. So, profit being critically important, but only if it's purposeful profit. And to me, garbage was sort of the idea that I fell in love with just because it's such a big topic. Everything ends up as waste, but
Yeah.
relatively few people desire being in that industry. So there's actually a lot of opportunity for innovation because of that. And that was, started TerraCycle now 16 years ago. And then, off we've went, knock on wood, straight growth ever since, but now a, larger organization.
So was there any resistance from your family and friends when you picked up garbage as the purpose?
Sure, totally. It's not all that sexy of a topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, totally. But I think if you follow your dream and, you're a little headstrong along the way, people wake up, somewhere along that journey.
That's perfect, right? So, how do you define the circular economy concept? Because this term has been pretty much in vogue of late, and there are a lot of discussions, conferences, and seminars happening on this. But to a lay person, how would you define what a circular economy would mean?
The way I would look at it is, the the uh, the best way to define a circular economy is sort of to understand a linear economy. So, a linear product, let's say, is one that we make by extracting resources from the earth, use it, and then dispose it. So everything like a pen or a coffee cup would all be linear products. Um, Now, there's not one right answer on the circular economy. So the way we do it at TerraCycle is we break it apart into three questions. The first question we ask is, and let's just take something as simple as a coffee cup. The first question is, how do we make sure that coffee cup can be recycled, typically into something else? That sort of creates a bend in the circular economy. Not quite a perfect circle because the cup will not be recycled back into a cup, but at least it allows it not to go from a to a take make waste. That's the
Right.
first question. And in fact, TerraCycle does a lot of that by helping to recycle things that are traditionally non-recyclable or hard to recycle. The second part is, how do we make sure the cup itself can be made from waste? And that creates a complete circle, but a recycling loop, if you will. And then the next part of the circular economy is, how do we shrink that recycling loop into a reuse loop where there's less steps along the way? And that we're doing with a new platform we have, coincidentally called Loop, that functions under the TerraCycle system. So that's at least how we think about it. So if you zoom back out, the goal of the circular economy is to go from a linear economy into a circle, and then to shrink that circle as absolutely much as possible.
Oh, interesting. So the shrinking of the circle is also equally important, is it?
And critically important, yeah, absolutely. In the end, you want to, within the context of buying something. So the best thing to do is not purchase anything, not create the demand for something, but within the context of buying, you want the product to have as least impact as possible, and the way to do that is with the smallest possible circle.
Okay, that's very
Right.
interesting.
So think about it this way, right? Just to sort of illustrate it. Let's say I have my T-shirt. I'm wearing a T-shirt. This
Yeah.
is a linear product because it is made, used, and when this t-shirt is done, it will be thrown away.
Right.
Better would be to make sure that when this t-shirt is done, it's recycled into something else, maybe insulation or paper.
Hmm.
Better than that is that it's also made from recycled material, so I don't have to grow new cotton. And much better than all of that is that I just wash it and give it to someone else, which would be reuse.
So, when it comes to TerraCycle, what has been the most, or maybe what are the most unique features of TerraCycle? How is it a different sort of startup? Because you're such a youth icon, and many people are drawing inspiration from you when it comes to, starting on sustainability as a purpose-driven enterprise. So, how would you define the uniqueness of TerraCycle?
Yeah. It's a tough question only because everything we do, we're the only ones in the world typically who do it. And in fact, we try to set ourselves up, we're a waste management company, and we try to only do what large waste management companies don't do. So we're set up in this world where sort of everything we do is by definition unique. Coincidentally, actually, we're partly owned by many waste management companies around the world. Suez in Europe has purchased 30% of TerraCycle Europe, or Waste Connections in Canada owns, I think, 20% of TerraCycle Canada. Even Itochu in Japan has done a similar deal, buying 20% of TerraCycle Japan. So there's we're also partly owned by these large organizations. So if you think about what a typical waste management company does, they focus on extracting from our garbage what is valuable. We call that recycling, and everything else they dispose of as cheaply as possible within the laws of the land that they're operating in. So what TerraCycle does is we have these three divisions, which is all about bending the circle and then making it into a tighter circle. So in the first division, we focus on collection and recycling of things that would otherwise not be recyclable, from cigarette butts to dirty diapers to flexible food packaging to toothpaste tubes, you name it. There, I guess I'm the most proud of the ones that seem the most impossible. So last year we launched dirty diaper recycling with Pampers at Procter & Gamble, or chewing gum recycling with Trident, all the way to cigarette recycling. Those are many times seen as the very difficult ones, so those are pretty cool. But all the way to contact lenses with Johnson & Johnson or Bausch& Lomb, to flexible food packaging. Our second division focused on how do we integrate waste back into products. So there, I'm really excited about the work we've been doing on ocean plastic with companies like P&G and Unilever, putting ocean plastic back into their products. Um, and then Loop is, something that's very new and has, been quite a sort of sensation, across the sort of the sort of business landscape, especially in the context of circular economy. And so we're just very excited about really the highly innovative products that have come out from there, like Unilever's deodorant example, or Haagen-Dazs's ice cream example, or Tide's laundry detergent. These are breakthrough package designs, all in this new platform that we're developing. So there's a lot of exciting things, going on. But those would be some sort of highlights.
So you're only working with the larger corporates and larger brands, or you're also working with the smaller organizations and individuals per se?
Yeah, all of the above, right? So in our first division under TerraCycle, yeah, there we do work with large companies to fund national recycling programs, but also startups, little companies as well, and down to the individual. Individuals can buy our service if they like through our website, through our zero waste box platform. So it could be from individuals to offices, all the way up to large mega brands and everything in between, and all the way to to Loop. There we work with large organizations, of course, but also startups or companies that are pre-revenue. The difference is the large organizations in Loop can develop really custom products and invest against their development, while the startups, we help them look for more stock packaging, or packaging that would be already available somewhere in durable, reusable forms.
So you mean to say, even in terms of collaboration with other stakeholders, even that is a circular loop. So you are actually, they can buy from you and they can also contribute. So there is
Sure,
a,
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's absolutely right.
okay, great. So, what's your ambition with TerraCycle? Because I think you mentioned that you have already partnered with a couple of countries, and you're also tied up with most of the reputed brands, and you're also connected with the startups now. So, what's the next step?
Sure. I mean, the obviously bigger than better. We're now in 21 countries. We're looking to open a few more markets, really grow the volume of our various services. Today we collect and recycle a few million kilos of hard to recycle waste every week, and we'd love to grow that. And then
Mhm.
in loop, just get more partners, more retailers involved, so that anywhere you shop, there is a reusable option available for you easily and conveniently. So we're excited about what we've accomplished in the past 15 years, but there's a lot more to do to really bring forward the circular economy.